Match 2 of the Finsbury Cheese Championship, ADDC Rules. First half, no points. Someone is going home and going to have themselves a nice grilled cheese sandwich after this. Match 2, we got Shelby taking on Andrew. Now, a lot of this match is spent on the feet, which will give me some good time to kind of explain the tactics and the strategy going on here. So the first thing you have to pay attention to when standing up, grappling, wrestling, whatever you want to call it, is your stance or your posture. Notice how Shelby on the left has quite an upright stance. Now, what's the benefit or negatives of an upright stance? Well, the negatives would be you're a little bit more vulnerable to leg shots. If the guy has a good blast double leg, you don't want to stand too upright. But in most cases, and I think it's the case for most people, is that in jiu-jitsu, most people aren't really comfortable shooting in at the legs. It takes a lot of time to develop that because what happens is you get guillotined, you get countered with submissions, you get thrown. So people kind of adapt a little bit more of an upright posture and not as crouched down low as you would see in, say, amateur wrestling. Andrew, on the right, has a little bit more of a crouch stance, which is good because it's going to allow him to try to take shots to the legs if he wants. And it allows him to really fight for grips. See him try to go for an arm drag there. Also, notice the pace. This match is 6 minutes. First half, no points. But if you are watching Shelby, you see that he's pretty relaxed. Andrew seems to be using a bit more energy. But remember, when you're doing a grappling match, you want to think of it as a marathon, not a sprint. Picture running. If you were going to race for a kilometer versus 10 kilometers, you're going to have to adjust your pace. And it's the same thing with grappling, except people don't look at it like that because they just want to get in and out as quick as they can. But when you have two skilled grapplers going against each other, it's not going to end quickly a lot of the time. So you have to pay attention to your breathing, your pace. You'll often have to force yourself to slow down a little bit before you develop and find a pace that works for you throughout a 6-minute match or possibly longer. People will often ask me, how do you get better cardio for jiu-jitsu? And there's no secret exercise. You just do it and do the length of the round you're going to be competing at. Do a little bit longer round than you're comfortable with. That's how you get better at it. Andrew with a nice shot to the double leg there, but Shelby was able to sprawl hard. It was a really good commitment from Andrew. You really have to commit when you're going to shoot to the legs. Watch again. Shelby has a collar tie. Andrew snaps it off, creates a little bit of space, drops levels. I just don't think he dropped quite low enough and didn't get enough explosion off that back leg. There was a little bit of space for Shelby to move his hips back and then get his upper body over top of Andrew, force him down to the mat, and now you see him end up right into side control, and then he steps right over into a mount, which is good positional dominance for Shelby, but we're still early enough in the match where there's no points on the board here yet. Still 0-0. But it's still quite a big psychological advantage of just having dominance over your opponent, which is always what you're fighting for. Now you see Andrew here. He's got to fight to get an elbow inside Shelby's knee. He has Shelby's right ankle trapped, but he wants to try to now trap Shelby's right knee in between his legs and force this half guard. You see him do that, and they get back to standing as Shelby kind of relieved the pressure and stood back up. Now you see the clock. We're less than 3 minutes, which means we're past halfway, so now points are in play. Shelby seems pretty comfortable standing here. And to me, it seems like Shelby is interested in counter wrestling, which I'm also a big fan of. I like people trying to shoot in at my legs and trying to take me down so I can try to counter and reverse them. Some people just aren't naturally aggressive wrestlers. See Andrew look for a shot there again. Now Shelby was quick to snatch up that head. Andrew tried to shoot the double leg, and Shelby picks it up quickly, probably because Andrew went forward earlier in the match. So Shelby looks like he has almost an arm in guillotine, but he uses that to pull Andrew down to a front headlock, and he puts his back right on the mat. So because he snapped him all the way down from feet to back on the mat, he would get 2 points at that point. And now he's up 2-0, but he doesn't have mount points yet until he escapes that foot, his left foot, which Andrew has trapped. So Andrew is down 2-0, and he's on the bottom. He has to try to get into a guard position, and then he'll be able to attack with sweeps or possibly threaten a submission. And Shelby's not interested in that. He tries to go right to mount. He's got it. He's got his points. Now Shelby's totally in control here. He steps over, looking for a mounted triangle. Andrew has his hands locked, nicely timed bridge. If you get in a situation like this where the person doesn't have the submission locked, see how Andrew's hands are on the inside? I remember yelling for him to bridge in this situation because Shelby's just kind of rocking on top of him. He doesn't have a secure position, but Shelby transitioned very nicely here. He's very loose and smooth and was able to step around, and he's immediately threatening a darce. Chaining submission and chaining attacks together like Shelby did there. He went for a triangle, didn't work. He tries for a darce. It's very important. It's almost like you want to think of your jiu-jitsu as a chain, and you want to have as many links or as many moves continuously as possible. So you see Shelby mount again. See how he's kind of driving his hips down. Andrew's trying to shake those grapevines loose. He traps a foot again. Now Shelby has a chance to threaten the neck as Andrew turns away slightly. Not a good position for Andrew here. He's got to try to go turn back into Shelby. Now he exposes his back. Shelby has the hooks. Looking to attack the submission. Nice escape from Andrew. He gets back to a mount. But there's a lot of pressure here from Shelby. And a good pace. He didn't push himself too hard too early, so I think Shelby still has quite a bit of gas left in the tank if needed. And he's just putting a lot of pressure on Andrew. Andrew's down multiple points here, so he's going to have to really do something big to come back. Like if you're down 2-0, that's not an insurmountable lead because basically a sweep or a takedown will tie it up. But if you're down 5 or 6 points or more than that, that means you're going to have to score multiple times. You're going to have to get a takedown plus a mount, possibly a back take. So if you can stay within that 2 to 3 point range, that's good. I like what happened there. Andrew tried to bridge and Shelby just kind of relieved enough pressure so he was able to turn that mount into a back take. But Shelby's hips are still riding up kind of high. So Andrew's kind of able to wiggle his way out of there. Ends up on top. But that's all she wrote. Time has run out. Nice match there. I'd say Andrew just kind of needs 1 or 2 go-to attacks from stand-up, and I think that will sharpen up his game. But great match.